What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are feeling the way you're supposed to be. It is Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. Happy hump day. And that means it is the eve of everything we've been looking forward to. Tomorrow, maybe if you're watching this on the day itself, is Thursday, September 4th, 2025, the day the season begins for the Dallas Cowboys, the day the season begins for the NFL at large. And it is officially the best time of year. I know that college football returned. My Sun Devils undefeated, my Gators undefeated. I know it's only one game, but still, you got to say it when you can. And this is different, though, right? Like as much as we love college football, as much as we love playoff baseball, as much as we love all these things that are kind of starting to lock into place as the fall fully hits. We're in September now, right? Like August went on forever. It is different when the Dallas Cowboys are actively playing, and when you have that weekly kind of thing going on that, okay, we're playing the Giants this week, we're playing the Packers or whatever. Obviously, that's an interesting sentence to say right now, but today's a fun day, or tomorrow's a fun day whenever you're watching this. And if I could get all my thoughts organized, we could have a conversation. And I think that's kind of where I'm at here. That's something I want to start doing here this season on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, where I hope you are subscribed. Hopefully you like this video, you tell a friend, etc. You can also follow me on social media, X, Instagram, and Threads at RJ Ochoa, TikTok, rj.ochoa, rj.ochoa at sbnation.com is also how you email me if that's your preferred method of communication. You can also, by the way, access all of these social profiles down in the description below. There are links to each and every single one of them. And while I'm throwing out links, you should check out bloggingtheboys.com. You're home for the latest and greatest in Dallas Cowboys news, discussion, and analysis. Something I'm going to be doing this year is a final thoughts video, just the day before. And sometimes some weeks will get weird, right? When we go, Sunday to Thanksgiving, whatever. And there's a lot of stuff we're squishing in and condensing, and it's all good. It's all fun. And I appreciate everyone who watches every video. Maybe you can only make certain ones. Believe me, I get it. This last, week for me, if you call it 7 days, right, since the day of the Micah trade, I shared this during the live show I did right after that day. I had a solo dad day here at my house. My wife was working late, and I knew that it was going to be a solo dad day. And so, things are just, you got to have this planned. And I had everything, set to go. I was all like, this is going to be super chill. It's going to be a lot of fun. My son and I were going to play some Mario, and then the trade happens. And so it turns into all this different stuff. And I had a few things that just kind of popped up in my life that have made the last 7 days feel like 100. And so it's a bit cathartic to get to this point now, with everything kind of coalescing and emerging and fading away and dissipating all at the same time. And so I want to have an opportunity, and that's what this is going to be every week. Final thoughts, final discussion, final chatter, just final thoughts before the game in question. And this week, the Dallas Cowboys are obviously playing the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think if I have to boil my final thoughts down to one specific thing, it's that this team, this football team, the Dallas Cowboys, they sorely need to play a football game. It has been a long time, obviously, since they've played a football game of consequence, but I would argue that it's been a much longer time since they've played a game of consequence where the sky wasn't falling. If you are someone who was taking anything that the Cowboys did in 2024 seriously, that's on you. But that was the year in which the front office completely and totally willfully sabotaged the team. I would argue the last time that we felt even moderately good going into a football game as Cowboys fans was probably the night that Jimmy Johnson was enshrined into the Ring of Honor in late December 2023. I think it might have been New Year's Eve, but the day before. That Saturday night game against the Lions, reporting as eligible, that thing that Lions fans still won't let go of. I mean, that was the last time that everything was good. And ever since then, it has just been bad and worse and bad and worse. And right now, it feels like there's just an acknowledgement of, okay, things might be bad or worse or whatever, but we're just going to move on and we'll see what happens. That wasn't the case last year. That's not to say that anybody was wrong or improper for how they approached it, but it's exciting to kind of feel like Thursday night marks a step forward for the Cowboys. Whether they win or lose, they're finally moving forward with being a football team, which is what we've been anxious to see for a long time. And as we get into that, as we kind of unpack the football of it all and how possible this is, or how they could win, or maybe they could do this, maybe they could shock the world, maybe whatever, something that I can't let go of. And I've tweeted a lot about this. I've posted a lot about this. I find it amazing that the Dallas Cowboys are the biggest underdog of the week. Now, I know some people don't like betting. This isn't a betting conversation. This is a context conversation. And I hope that if you are someone who, I don't mean to offend anybody. We're not here talking betting advice. We're just applying the context that odds makers have obviously assigned to this game. And so as we look at this here, this is according to our friends at FanDuel, at SB Nation. The Dallas Cowboys are 8.5-point underdogs. Okay. That is absurd. I checked this out. The last time the Cowboys were at least an 8-point underdog in the Dak Prescott era, with him starting obviously at quarterback, the last time was the only time. There's only been one instance of a Dak Prescott-led Dallas Cowboys team being an 8-point or more underdog, like they are at the moment for Thursday night in Philadelphia. And coincidentally, it was the last time Dallas was in this slot. When Dallas kicked off the season on the road in 2021 to face the Buccaneers, they were also this big of an underdog. They did lose that game, to be fair, but they did not, get blown out. The spread was not covered by the Bucs. Dak Prescott was phenomenal individually. And so I'm not saying that to wishcast or hopecast or manifest anything. I'm saying that to tell you that if you really believe that the Cowboys are going to lose by 9 or more points, that I don't think you're tethered to reality. You can be the biggest hater you want. You can say all these sorts of things, and Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and the Micah trade and blah, 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 and Dak and this and that. At the end of the day, if I'm confident in anything, and this is not betting advice, it's just I can't believe this is the case. It's that the Cowboys are at the very least going to make this a much closer game than the betting line would initially suggest before everything gets started. And what's more is if we look a little bit deeper at this, and that's what I find to be kind of interesting. So they're the largest. There's not a single, and I'm recording this for you just for some context on Wednesday, September 3rd. Like I said, it's 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Odds are obviously always subject to change. There is not a team in the NFL playing in week one, and obviously everybody's playing in week one, who is a bigger underdog. You've got some big lines. New York's a 5.5-point dog against Washington. That's a road game for them, like it is for Dallas, obviously. I believe the Cardinals, they were in one of the bigger lines, obviously 6.5-point dogs on the road, 6.5-point favorites on the road, which would suggest that the Saints might be the worst team in the NFL. The fact that they're 6.5-point dogs at home. The Bengals, 5.5-point favorites on the road in Cleveland. The only one that comes kind of close, and for a little bit it was near this line, is Tennessee at Denver. The Titans, who had the number one overall pick last year, are 7.5-point underdogs on the road against the Denver Broncos. But something that, again, and I'm not feigning to be some sort of betting expert or anything like that, but this information is, interesting and valuable and contextual. The over-under for this Titans-Broncos game, because this is the next closest line for the Cowboys-Eagles game. You get what I'm saying? The over-under is 42.5 points. So that means, again, if you're not hip to this, and that's okay, Vegas believes around 42, 43 in this approximate range. That many total points are going to be scored in the game. Okay, that is interesting. That's one of the lower over-unders of the week, but that stands to reason because you think the Broncos are going to maybe blow them out. If we scroll up, I want you to see, in case you didn't pay attention at the very beginning here, the Cowboys Eagles over-under is set at 47.5, which is higher than, as an example, the game the very next day. You see this on your screen, the Chargers Chiefs game. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites on the road, although everyone's on the road in Brazil, but you get my point. Chiefs are 3-point favorites, and the over-under for that game is 46.5. That is, pretty chalk. That feels pretty fair. That feels pretty understood. That feels pretty obvious, whatever. How can the Cowboys be the biggest underdog of the week? And I'm not saying this doesn't happen, or this is a super rare phenomenon or anything. I'm just trying to read through this information and connect the dots that I can. How can you tell me that they are 8.5-point dogs and that the over-under is set at 47.5? I mean, again, well, not again, they're the literal answer would be, oh, the Eagles are going to blow them out that badly. The Eagles are going to win 38-10, right? In that world, the over would hit and the Eagles would certainly cover 8.5 points. And that may happen, right? Like in a world of infinite possibilities, anything is possible and anything can happen. And, any score, any permutation, any whatever can ultimately be the result. I don't think that you can be the most down Cowboys fan there is, or be the most ardent Cowboys hater there is. However you ultimately wind up here, whoever you are, I hope you subscribe to the channel. But I don't think anybody believes that this is going to be a 38-10 proposition. And if it is, like, there are bigger problems here. But as I said on the mixtape this week with BLG, I think this is a no-lose situation for the Cowboys. Even if they lost 38-10, so what? Like you think this bothers us? Like we live here. Like we're in the mud. We are perpetually in the mud. And that's like, I don't think that enough people get that. And I think that we may be I think we may have finally been liberated as Dallas Cowboys fans, because there's a lot of you who are going to say, "Oh no, I knew a long time ago that this team wasn't going to accomplish anything as long as Jerry was in charge, whatever." But I truly think that the mass has been liberated, and that the mass obviously wants to win. The mass obviously cares, and the mass obviously believes that they can win, and assesses and analyzes and takes pride in whatever. But I think the mass has said, well, if they lose, like, so what? Like, you're going to make more fun of them. You're going to scream even louder about them. You're going to tell us again that Dak Prescott isn't this. You're going to tell us again that Jerry Jones is meddling. You're going to tell us, how the trade was really bad or whatever. Like, oh no, how will we handle this? We just, no, we're so not used to this. We have no idea. Dude, they had like 5 documentaries released about them in the last year with regards to every, facet of the organization. Like, everyone is kind of used to this chaos. And so if they were to lose, if they were to get blown out, it would not phase anybody, because the reaction wouldn't bother anybody. And that isn't a cope in the sense of like, oh, the standard's much lower. It's a cope in the sense of, yeah, we're really used to chaos. So, if you set the house on fire, we sort of regard this to be a normal day around here. And that's kind of an interesting phenomenon, if I'm being totally honest. Ultimately, it kind of all takes me to a place of feeling like they can win, maybe they should win, maybe they will win. I don't know. Like, I can't really marry those 3 thoughts. Those are kind of the 3, avenues you can go down relative to obviously any game. But I feel like it is not, you know, I think it would be really shocking if the Titans beat the Broncos, right? To use the example that we were referencing here. I think you, whoever you are, I think we would be more shocked if the Titans beat the Broncos than we would if the Cowboys beat the Eagles, right? Like, I think we agree there. And think about that here. The Cowboys are the biggest underdog of the week on the road against the Eagles. The Titans are the second biggest underdog of the week on the road against the Broncos. And I think we all would be way less shocked if the Cowboys beat the Eagles than we would if the Titans beat the Broncos. And that's not an individual take on the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Titans, or the Broncos, but it is kind of representative of how this is a weird line. And some of it is weird because it's week 1, it's the first game, and the Eagles are raising a Super Bowl banner, and the Cowboys just made this massive trade. Like, we can understand the context of the situation. But that being said, I don't think that if Dallas were to win, a very big if, obviously, I don't think it would be the biggest surprise of week 1. I think we can very easily conceive of bigger surprises, which again makes the whole situation quite interesting. My final thoughts, if it isn't obvious, are that it's very difficult to have final thoughts right now. It's very difficult to isolate. It's very difficult to kind of land this plane, because this plane has been tumultuously flying through the air for so long, kind of since that night against Detroit, like we said. And so, if anything, I think that at the end of this game, the plane will be on the ground. And that's what I'm most excited about, right? Like, at the end of this game, we'll finally have some football, some data. We'll have a thing we'll have a piece of meat to kind of dive in and eat. We're no longer thinking. It's kind of like, I don't remember his name, but in the Matrix, when the guy who turns is speaking to Agent Smith. And I think that's his name, right? Agent Smith. And he says, I know that this steak isn't real. I know that there's code telling my brain what it tastes like, and I don't care. I'm not bothered by that. I think we've been kind of living in the Matrix ever since, the Packers playoff loss, but not in an acceptance way, in a we're trapped, get this the hell out of here way. And I think that at the end of this Cowboys Eagles game, however it goes, even if Dallas were to get blown out in embarrassing fashion, I don't think any of us would care, because I think we'd all say to ourselves, it doesn't matter. We're finally out of the Matrix. Like, we finally woke up. We can finally at least start to live real life again, which is, I think, what we're most anxious about, which is, in an interesting way, beautiful. I don't know. Look, I'm pumped to have football back, to have football to kind of sink our teeth into, and to start, moving forward towards football things. And so, quick schedule of events today. Later on today, on what's today, Wednesday, you get an interview with Erin Andrews. Erin is amazing, so please watch that. Please support her. Super fun interview with Scott Hansen coming soon. Lots of fun stuff happening here on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, if it isn't obvious. So please make sure to subscribe, like the video, and tell a friend. You can also follow me. My name is RJ Ochoa. on any level of social media, X, Instagram, Threads at RJ Ochoa, TikTok, RJ.Ochoa, RJ.Ochoa at SBNation.com is how you email me if that is your thing. Also, make sure to check out the fine work of all of our staffers at bloggingtheboys.com. Lots of stuff coming your way in the lead up to and the immediate aftermath of the game. I will see you live afterwards for our Dallas Cowboys post-game show that will be streaming here and on the Bleacher Report app. But for now, my friends, I bid you adieu. I hope you have a wonderful day and that you enjoy the game. And let's go Cowboys.